You just can't get rid of me. After I made my first two videos about graphing, I realized there was one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and that was really more specifically about graphing when you've done task analyzed progress monitoring. So let me have a look at those things. Just if you watched the video, the second video, you saw me create this graph on Google Sheets. So it's so pretty. And you know, I like pretty things. When we use progress monitoring, some things are more intuitive about how you're going to create those graphs than others. So when we're doing fluency, you know you're graphing your words correct per minute. If you're counting kids' behaviors or taking the amount of time that they've been in a tantrum, that all seems really straightforward. And it's just, you know, the number of tantrums, the number of minutes that tantrum lasted. But somehow in progress monitoring for task analysis, it can be a little bit more confusing about what you want to put into the graph. So if you watched my webinar where I talked about using task analysis and using this particular format for tracking data, you saw me talk about why I start from the bottom and go to the top, that I'm trying to create an additional graph. So this is the foundation skill. So it's kind of the floor, and then it goes up to the highest level or the end. It might feel backwards to some people. If you don't like it that way, don't do it that way. But the thing that I like about that is that number one aligns with having done no independence. So that's what these blue circles are. It's about how much independence they had at each trial that they did the complete task. So what you show here with these blue dots is a gradually rising level of the ability to use independent steps. So that's one thing we can look at, is just how much more independent are they getting step by step. But that only shows part of the picture of what they're doing, because the other thing that we could look at is how intrusive is the prompting that we're using. So up here, I have totaled the number, not the number of prompts, it's the magnitude of prompts, because it's not like we gave 21 prompts on September 1st. That's not the case. We just added up all of this score. 2 and 3 is 5 and 3 is 8. 3 more is 11, 13, 15, 17, 20, 21. So it's 21 points worth of prompting with 10 steps and 3 points possible. 30 would be the highest level. That would be having used physical guidance on every single step. That's very intrusive. So when you just look at the points level up here, you can see 21, 16, 12, 6, and 5. So they're dropping off really quickly. So we can graph from a couple different standpoints. Like I said, you can graph just straight ahead independence, or we can look at a decreasing amount of prompting that's necessary. And that's the graph that's on this particular slide. So here we have Susan's toothbrushing. There's some baseline data here, about 26, 27. So there was a lot of prompting going on before we started teaching toothbrushing. And then we have an aim line. And the aim line here is just, you know, what seems reasonable for her to meet. And then here's actually the intervention. So each time we see that her ability to brush her teeth independently is increasing. But what this graph is showing is the decreasing prompts. So on this graph, it's a little counterintuitive because we start high and we're trying to go low. Lots of prompting, and we're trying to get down to no prompting. So sometimes the graph that we create, we want it to go up, like with oral reading fluency or with independence. But if we're graphing the prompting that we're using, we want that level to go down. And you can see that she is going down really rapidly. She's going down faster than her aim line is going down. I made this data up, and I hope that all of your students always exceed your expectations in the way that my fictional Susan did. So I hope that that's helpful in terms of turning your task analyzed prompts into a graph that looks the same as these other progress monitoring graphs that includes an aim line. Because I think that's something that gets a little bit confusing for people. The way that I created this graph is exactly the same way as I described in the other two videos. So I'm going to leave that one there. I hope that was helpful, and I will talk to you again next time.